The billionaire never looked up when the waitress approached his table. In a room filled with power, money, and polished smiles, she was meant to be invisible. But one glance at his wrist changed everything. A tattoo, a date, a symbol she had seen every day of her life on her mother's skin. What began as a silent shift in a luxury restaurant would unravel a secret buried for 25 years, collide two lives from opposite worlds, and force a man who owned everything to face the one truth he never planned to meet. Stay with this story, because nothing after that moment goes the way you expect. The first thing Emily Walker noticed was the silence. It wasn't the comfortable kind, the soft hush of an expensive room where wealth moved carefully so it wouldn't be disturbed. This silence was sharper, heavier, the kind that fell when something invisible cracked beneath the surface. Crystal chandeliers glittered above the Sapphire Lounge in Midtown Manhattan, throwing pale light across marble floors and linen-covered tables. Champagne flutes clinked, laughter floated, money breathed easily here. Emily had learned how to move through rooms like this without being seen. At 25, she knew the rules. Keep your eyes down, smile softly. Don't speak unless spoken to. Never let them see how tired you are. Never let them know how badly you need the tips. She adjusted the black uniform dress she'd hand-washed the night before and balanced a silver tray against her hip. Tonight was a private celebration. Wall Street executives, venture capital partners, and one name whispered by every server with a mix of awe and fear: Daniel Brooks. Emily had heard of him long before tonight. Everyone in New York had. The billionaire founder of Brooks Capital, cold, brilliant, untouchable, a man who built an empire without ever looking back. VIP corner booth, her manager Melissa Grant whispered urgently, gripping Emily's arm. Daniel Brooks's table. Don't spill, don't talk, be invisible. Emily nodded. Invisible was something she was good at. She walked toward the velvet roped section, her heels clicking too loudly on the floor. 3 men sat in the corner booth overlooking the city skyline. But she knew instantly who Daniel Brooks was. He didn't need to raise his voice. He didn't need to smile. Authority radiated from him like gravity. He wore a tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than her rent for 6 months. His hair was threaded with silver, his expression unreadable, his attention locked on the documents spread across the table. Good evening, gentlemen, Emily said, voice calm despite the knot tightening in her chest. Champagne this evening? Dom Perignon. 3 glasses, one of the men said without looking at her. Daniel Brooks didn't look up either. As Emily turned to leave, one of the other men smirked. You know how much money is on this table right now, sweetheart? She froze. $400 million, he continued, amused. More than you'll make in your lifetime. Funny how the world works, huh? Emily forced a polite smile. I'll get your champagne right away, sir. She walked back to the bar, hands shaking just enough that the bartender, Frank Miller, noticed. Hunt's table? He murmured, pouring carefully. Rough crowd. Emily nodded, swallowing hard. She thought of her mother, Laura Walker, lying awake in their cramped Harlem apartment, coughing through the night. She thought of unpaid bills stacked neatly on the kitchen counter. She thought of how invisibility had kept them alive. She returned to the table, set the flutes down, and stepped back. That was when Daniel Brooks rolled up his sleeve. The movement was casual, unthinking. He reached for his glass, cuff sliding back just enough to reveal the inside of his wrist. Emily's breath stopped. Her world narrowed to a single image. A compass rose. Fine lines. Delicate detail. Beneath it, a date etched in black ink. June 14th, 2000. Her tray slipped slightly in her hands. No. 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 She had seen that tattoo every day of her life. Her mother's wrist. The same compass. The same date. Laura had traced it absent-mindedly whenever she was anxious, fingers brushing over it like a memory she couldn't let go of. Emily's heart began to pound so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. It couldn't be a coincidence. People had tattoos. Compass tattoos were common. Dates meant different things to different people. But not this. Not exactly this. Her mother had gone to Columbia University. She had been 20 years old in 2000. She had loved someone once. Someone who vanished. Emily's chest tightened. She should walk away. She knew she should. But she thought of her mother's cough, the way Laura tried to hide how weak she'd become, the way she'd laughed off the doctor visits they couldn't afford, the way Emily worked 70 hours a week and still fell short. She took a step forward, then another. "Excuse me, sir," Emily said quietly. Daniel Brooks didn't respond. The man beside him smirked. "Looks like you've got an admirer, Daniel." Emily swallowed. "Sir." Daniel looked up. His eyes were steel gray, sharp and dismissive, until they met hers. Something flickered there. Irritation, then curiosity. "Yes," he said. Her mouth went dry. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she began, voice trembling despite her effort to steady it. "But I noticed your tattoo." The table went silent. Daniel glanced down at his wrist. "What about it?" he asked, tone cool. Emily's hands shook. She tightened her grip on the tray. "My mother," she said, barely above a whisper. "My mother has the exact same one. Same design. Same date." The color drained from Daniel Brooks' face. "What did you say, Ashtam?" he asked, voice suddenly low. "My mom," Emily continued, heart racing now. "Her name is Laura Walker. She said she got it with someone she loved when she was in college. At Columbia." Time fractured. Daniel's champagne flute slipped from his fingers. It shattered against the marble floor, glass exploding, golden liquid spreading like spilled light. Every head in the restaurant turned. Daniel didn't move. "That's impossible," he breathed. "Laura, she told me she miscarried." Emily felt tears burn her eyes. "I'm 25, she said softly. "If she miscarried, I wouldn't be standing here." Silence slammed into the room. The man who had mocked her leaned back, stunned. Melissa froze near the edge of the VIP section. Frank stopped mid-pour behind the bar. Daniel Brooks stood so abruptly his chair tipped backward. "What's your name?" he demanded. "Emily," she said. "Emily Walker." He repeated it like a foreign language. "Walker?" His hands were shaking. "Where is she?" he asked. "Where is your mother?" Emily hesitated. "She's sick," she said, the words tumbling out now. "She's really sick, and we can't afford the tests. I work all the time, but it's never enough, and I'm coming with you," Daniel said. "What?" Emily blinked. "Now," he insisted, already pulling out his wallet. He handed Melissa several bills without looking at her. "She's done for the night." "This isn't," Emily began. "I need to see her," he said, voice breaking for the first time. "Please." The city outside glowed as they stepped into the night. Daniel Brooks in a $5,000 suit, Emily Walker in a polyester uniform. Two lives colliding beneath the streetlights of Manhattan. Emily looked at him, searching his face. "Harlem," she said quietly, "but I'm warning you, it's nothing like this." Daniel didn't hesitate. "I don't care," he replied. "If what you're saying is true, then my life just split in two, and I need to know which side I'm standing on." As the car door closed behind them, Emily felt the ground shift beneath her feet. One question burned louder than all the others. Was she about to meet her father, or unleash a truth that would destroy them both? The ride to Harlem felt longer than it should have. Daniel Brooks sat rigidly in the back of the car, hands clasped together so tightly his knuckles had gone white. The city slid past the tinted windows in streaks of light and shadow, but he barely seemed to see it. His jaw was clenched, eyes fixed somewhere far beyond the glass, as if the past were replaying itself frame by frame, whether he wanted it to or not. Emily sat beside him, back straight, hands folded in her lap to keep them from shaking. The adrenaline that had carried her out of the Sapphire Lounge was fading, replaced by a heavy, aching fear. Every block they passed brought them closer to a door she had guarded her entire life. She broke the silence first. "She doesn't know I told you," Emily said quietly. Daniel turned to her, startled. "She doesn't?" "No, she didn't even want me working tonight. She said I looked tired." Emily swallowed. "She worries about everything." Daniel nodded slowly, guilt tightening in his chest. "She was always like that, even back then. She took care of everyone before herself." Emily glanced at him, surprised by the familiarity in his voice. "You really knew her," she said. "I loved her," Daniel replied without hesitation. The word hung in the air between them, heavy and undeniable. They pulled up in front of a narrow brick building with flickering hallway lights and a cracked front step. Daniel stared up at it, his expression shifting, not with disgust, but with something deeper. Shame, regret, recognition. "This is it," Emily said. "There's no elevator," Daniel replied, opening the door. "I warned you. I meant it when I said I don't care." They climbed the stairs in silence, passing neighbors carrying laundry baskets and grocery bags. On the third floor, an older woman smiled at Emily and glanced curiously at Daniel's suit. "Working late again, honey?" she asked. Emily nodded. "Something like that." By the time they reached the fifth floor, Daniel's breathing had quickened, not from the stairs alone. Emily fumbled with her keys. When she dropped them, Daniel bent down instinctively to pick them up. Their fingers brushed. "Before we go in," he said quietly, "I need you to know something." Emily looked at him. "Whatever happens," Daniel continued, "whatever she says to me, I'm going to help her. This isn't about proving anything. It's about doing what I should have done a long time ago." Emily searched his face, trying to decide if she believed him. Then she opened the door. The apartment was small and dim, the air tinged with the scent of old books and menthol cough drops. Laura Walker lay propped up against pillows on the narrow bed by the window, a book resting open on her chest. "Emily?" Laura said, blinking awake. "You're home early." Then she saw him. The book slipped from her hands. Her face drained of color, then flushed, then drained again. "No," Laura whispered. "This isn't real." Daniel took a step forward, then stopped himself. His voice cracked. "Laura." For a long moment, neither of them moved. 25 years of absence, of resentment, of unfinished sentences filled the room. "How did you find me?" Laura demanded, her voice trembling as she tried to sit up. Emily rushed to her side. "Mom, please don't." "You brought him here?" Laura said, eyes locking onto her daughter. "You had no right." "I saw his tattoo," Emily said, tears spilling now. "The same one as yours. I couldn't pretend anymore. I couldn't watch you get sicker while he lived a life of comfort without even knowing we exist." Daniel ran a hand through his hair. "She told me you miscarried," he said, pain sharp in every word. "I believed you." "And you told me to get rid of the baby," Laura shot back. "You handed me money and walked away." "I was 20, Daniel said, voice rising. "My father threatened to cut me off. I panicked. I made the worst mistake of my life, and I've regretted it every day since." Laura laughed bitterly, which dissolved into a coughing fit. Emily held her until it passed. "I worked 3 jobs while pregnant," Laura said once she could breathe again. "I raised her alone. I made choices you never had to face." Daniel's shoulders sagged. "If I had known—" "You didn't deserve to know," Laura snapped. "Not after that." "Mom," Emily said softly, "please." Laura looked at her daughter, really looked at her, and something in her expression shifted. Fear replaced anger. "Emily," she whispered, "you don't understand what this will cost you." Daniel turned to Emily. "She's mine, isn't she?" Laura closed her eyes. "Yes," she said. "She's your daughter." The word landed like a physical blow. Daniel sat down hard on the only chair in the room, staring at Emily as if seeing her for the first time. Her eyes, her stubborn chin, the shape of her smile. "I missed everything," he said hoarsely. "All of it." Emily felt strangely calm. "You didn't miss my childhood," she said. "You missed the chance to help my mother." Daniel nodded. "Then let me start there." He stood and pulled out his phone. "You need a doctor, a real one. Tests, scans, whatever it takes. I'll pay for everything." "No," Laura said immediately. "I don't want your money." "It's not charity," Daniel replied. "It's responsibility." Laura shook her head. "You can't buy your way into our lives." "I'm not trying to," Daniel said quietly. "I'm trying to keep her alive." Silence fell again. Emily broke it. "Mom," she said, "please." Laura looked at her daughter, at the exhaustion etched into her face, at the fear she tried so hard to hide. Finally, she nodded once. Daniel exhaled shakily, already typing. "I'll have appointments arranged tomorrow. The best doctors, I promise." As he turned toward the door to leave, he hesitated. "Emily," he said, "can I have your number, just to talk, when you're ready?" Emily nodded and handed him her phone. After he left, the apartment felt smaller, quieter. "Are you angry at me?" Emily asked softly. Laura reached for her hand. "I'm terrified, but I know why you did it." Emily leaned her head against her mother's shoulder, unsure whether to feel relief or dread. Outside, Daniel Brooks stood on the sidewalk, staring up at the fifth-floor window, where a single light burned. He had a daughter, and nothing in his life had ever felt more fragile or more real. "As you take a breath here, tell me honestly, do you think Emily did the right thing by bringing Daniel into their lives, yes or no?" 3 days later, Emily stood in the polished lobby of Mount Sinai Hospital and felt like she had stepped into someone else's life. Everything gleamed: glass walls, soft lighting, quiet confidence in the way people moved through the space. This was not the overcrowded clinic where they had waited for hours only to be told they needed insurance. This was a place where answers came quickly, where help didn't feel conditional. Her phone vibrated in her hand. "Daniel." "I'm downstairs." Before she could respond, she saw him walking toward her, suit replaced by a simple dark jacket, his expression tense but hopeful. For a man who controlled boardrooms and markets, he looked strangely unsure of where to put his hands. "How is she?" he asked. "They're finishing the scans," Emily said. "They said we'll know today." Daniel nodded, jaw tight. "I'll stay as long as you need." When the doctor finally called them into the consultation room, Laura was already sitting up, pale but alert. Dr. Hannah Collins spoke calmly, carefully, every word measured. "It's not cancer," she said. Emily felt the room tilt. "What?" she whispered. "Severe chronic bronchitis and early-stage pneumonia," the doctor continued. "Complicated by malnutrition and stress. Serious, yes, but treatable. With proper medication, rest, and follow-up care, you should make a full recovery." Emily covered her mouth as tears poured freely down her face. Laura pressed her hands to her eyes, sobbing quietly. "I thought I was dying," Laura said. "I thought I was leaving her alone." Daniel exhaled shakily and sank into the nearest chair, relief washing over his face so completely it looked like pain. "You're going to be okay," Emily said, clutching her mother's hand. "You're going to be okay." After the doctor left, Daniel stood awkwardly near the door. "I've arranged for everything," he said softly. "Medication, home care, time off work. You won't have to go back to the laundromat." Laura stiffened. "I didn't agree to—" "I know," Daniel said, "and I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to let me take responsibility." Laura studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded once. "Okay." That night after Daniel left, Emily sat beside her mother on the narrow couch, the weight of everything finally settling in. "Are you okay?" Laura asked. "I don't know," Emily admitted. "I feel like my life's split in half." Laura squeezed her hand. "Whatever happens with him, it doesn't change what we are. I raised you. I chose you." "I know," Emily said. "And I love you for that." 2 weeks later, Daniel invited Emily to dinner, not at a 5-star restaurant, not at a private club, but at his apartment in Tribeca, quiet and understated despite the sweeping view of the city. Photo albums covered the dining table. "This was my life," Daniel said, flipping through images of awards, skyscrapers, handshakes, "and this was the part I lost." He opened an older album, photos of a younger Laura, laughing, studying, holding his arm on a campus lawn. Emily swallowed. She was happy. "She made me brave," Daniel said, "until I wasn't." He slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a check and a letter. "NYU," Emily whispered. "I dropped out." "You can go back," Daniel said. "Full tuition, living expenses, no pressure, just an option." Emily stared at the numbers, overwhelmed. "I can't buy forgiveness with this." "I'm not trying to," Daniel replied. "I'm trying to give you what I denied you." Emily took a long breath. "I don't know if I can forgive you." "I don't expect you to," Daniel said. "I just want to show up." 6 months passed. Laura recovered, slowly, fully. She gained weight, laughed again, slept through the night. Emily returned to school, juggling classes and work, rediscovering parts of herself she had buried under survival. Daniel didn't disappear. He showed up to appointments, to coffee, to awkward conversations filled with silence and honesty. He listened more than he spoke. One evening, sitting at a small Italian restaurant, Laura broke the tension. "I lied to you," she told him. "I took your daughter away because I was angry and afraid." Daniel nodded. "And I walked away because I was a coward." Emily watched them, realizing something quietly profound. Neither of them was innocent. Both of them were trying now. "I think," Emily said carefully, "we're allowed to be a family that's still learning how." Daniel smiled, eyes wet. "I'd like that." A year later, Emily stood on a stage at a community center in Harlem. Behind her, a banner read, "The Laura Walker Foundation. We provide healthcare screenings and education support for families who had to choose between rent and medicine." Emily said, voice steady, "Because no one should have to survive the way we did." The room erupted in applause. Laura wiped tears from her eyes. Daniel clapped quietly, pride written across his face. 5 years later, Emily taught 4th grade in a sunlit classroom, telling her students that stories matter because they remind us who we are. After school, she met her mother and Daniel for dinner, laughter echoing through a home that no longer felt fragile. One night, standing on the fire escape overlooking the city, Emily looked at her parents. "All of this," she said softly, "started with a tattoo." Laura smiled. "A reminder." Daniel nodded. "That truth finds its way out." And now, as you sit with this ending, tell me honestly, how did this story make you feel? Do you believe people deserve second chances when they truly take responsibility? Did Emily make the right choice by speaking up that night? If this story touched your heart, comment 100 below, so I know you stayed with us until the end. Tell me what country you're watching from, and if you believe stories like this should be shared, please pass this video along to someone who might need it today.